such an honor to be here. My name is Amy Baltzell, and I am a sport and performance psychologist. I've been a professor at Baltzell University for the last 20 years, and I am an author. So I think this is so cool. So to have a chance to share what I've been thinking about and studying about for the last 10 years and put it into just a couple minutes is a pretty cool challenge and a really exciting medium. And so what I want to do first is to give you all, what am I doing? Oh yeah, what am I doing? I'm going to be talking about mindfulness. Mindfulness. You know, this is certainly like a pop term these days, and in many ways we all think we know what mindfulness is, and you know, I'll give you the best shot of what I see mindfulness now. I think of it kind of simply as awareness. Awareness. Kind of, so, you know, we're all aware, but it's aware of what's occurring right now in the moment. Internally, thoughts and feelings. Externally, any kind of like sensory experiences, what you might see, what you might observe. So there's awareness of what's happening now, plus attention. So mindfulness has to do with what you're paying attention to. And what's really cool is with practice, you can actually improve the skill of being mindful, improve the skill of being able to be aware of and pay attention to what you choose to pay attention to. Cool. Now, the other idea that I want to share with you that, in my opinion, and has kind of got buried in some of the writing in the current 21st century literature, is that mindfulness really has the intent of friendliness towards self, kindness towards self. And this comes out of Jon Kabat-Zinn's work, and also Krista Neff, Chris Germer. They've been talking about this idea of self-compassion. And this is something that I really gravitated toward, because mindful sometimes is not enough. It's like, okay, I'm really aware the fact that I'm an athlete going into competition and I'm terrified. And I'm really aware of the fact that I need to switch my attention, but I can't because I feel overwhelmed. And you know, I can't function. I just want to jump out of here. So I found that adding self-compassion intentionally to this conversation of mindfulness has been incredibly helpful. I've done a number of studies. I have an intervention that I've created where I've included self-compassion. This means when you are, you know, suffering, when you're anxious, fearful, self-doubt, it's really important to first be mindful of it, which means you're aware it's happening and you're actually willing to pay attention to your own kind of suffering. And with this, you bring intentionally a kindness to it. Like you're willing to do whatever it takes to give yourself what you need so you can kind of get back in the game and have that kind of cultivating courage. And there's also the last bit is this common humanity. What does that mean? Common humanity. It means that you realize that you're not the only one suffering. You're not the only person who's ever been anxious or overwhelmed or fearful or full of dread. So in my opinion, for high-level performance, if we can get athletes and dancers and musicians to be aware of what's happening, and to put their attention when they need to put their attention to perform, and if they're kind of spinning out of control and they need something to help like soothe them enough to get them to have the courage to get back in the game, bring themselves some self-compassion. How do you do it? Well, I've spent the last 6 to 8 years thinking deeply about how do you do this, and what I got to for myself personally first, and then what I brought to athletes and performers is this mindful meditation practice. So it's not for everyone, but even if it's just the concept of what it can, the concept can help us understand how to bring a mindful approach to what we do. So in mindfulness meditation, the cycle is, it starts with this. What are you going to pay attention to? And in meditation, it might be pay attention to your breath, pay attention to sound, pay attention to physical sensation, pay attention to all of it. It doesn't matter, but what does matter is you decide what to pay attention to, which helps develop this skill of mindfulness, starting to improve your ability to pay attention to what you choose to pay attention to, the ball in the court, the guy coming down at you at defense. But what happens when you meditate? If you've ever tried it, most people think they're really bad at it. Why? Because the mind wanders. Mind wanders. And the truth is, no matter how much you practice, I mean, the Dalai Lama, I don't know. But besides the Dalai Lama, everyone's mind wanders. It's part of the process of meditation. It's normal. And there's such a beautiful thing we can get out of this mind wandering because it gives you the chance to learn, to kind of strengthen the muscle of attention. Bring your attention back to the meditation. But first, you have to become aware that your mind's wandering. And this awareness, waking up to that, is when people go, oh, I'm bad at this. I can't do this. Just like the athlete says, I'm overwhelmed. I have self-doubt. I can't do this. What's the choice? You spiral into misery. And I've been there maybe, I don't know, 1,000 times or more. But there's a choice, right? We don't have to just react and cave. We don't have to react and choke. We also have a choice of returning to what we need to pay attention to. Now, when a coach says to me, Amy, relax, just get your attention back in the boat, I used to think like, nice idea. Please help me. How do I do it? I have no idea how to do this. Well, it's just a choice. Just choose to bring your attention back to rowing, to the oar in the water. Well, guess what? I couldn't. I had no way to do it. If I'd only known that it was a choice, and in that choice, I first could bring myself some self-compassion. Then, kindness to self. It's normal to feel terrified. It's normal to feel overwhelmed. Common humanity. Be aware of what you're feeling. Have attention to it and do something about it. What can I do? Oh, I can be kind to myself. I can think, other people feel like this too. You've been successful in the past. Maybe even the more radical idea that's happening with mindfulness is you don't have to feel a certain way. You don't have to be confident. You don't have to feel good. What you can do is you can feel kind of miserable, and that's an act of kindness to yourself, and then bring your attention back to what you're doing. I've had many athletes I've worked with. I'll share one story. Here's an example. And this is how the meditation cycle, this whole cycle, can help train the skill of mindfulness and kindness to self when necessary, so you can keep your head in the game. What do? Okay, tennis player, focus on the game. What happens? Ball's called out. Oh, I just want to, smash my racket. That's the same thing as mind wandering. What do you do with that? Meditation teaches you, like, we got to wake up to it. Oh, I'm aware of the fact I'm ready to smash my racket. What do? Well, normally I smash my racket, I crash, I choke, I'm distracted. Game goes downhill. But the cool thing is, we all have a choice. That's just reaction. We have a choice to choose how we want to react, how we want to respond. Oops, sorry. It's essential, respond. Because response is a choice. React is automatic. How we want to respond. And if we need it, bring yourself kindness. If you don't need it, get your head back in the game. But we all have a choice. We don't have to react like we always have in the past. So, in this little bit of time, I really hope that you understand how it's possible that mindfulness and self-compassion can be an essential kind of tool to help you perform better. So, thank you so much. Enjoy.